The fluorescent lights of the emergency room cast harsh shadows across Jin-woo's trembling hands as he stared at his phone screen, wondering why the most important person in his life never seemed to be there when he needed him most. The autumn rain hammered against the windows of the small apartment on the third floor of a building that had seen better days. Jin-woo was in the kitchen, stirring a pot of soup for dinner, when he heard the sound that would change his entire life. It wasn't dramatic or loud, just a simple thud, followed by a cry that made his blood run cold. "Jin-woo, help!" He dropped the ladle and ran to the staircase. There, at the bottom of the steps, lay his 12-year-old cousin Sung-ho, clutching his arm and crying in pain. Jin-woo's heart felt like it stopped beating for a moment. He rushed down, careful not to slip on the same steps that had betrayed his little cousin. "It's okay. It's okay. I'm here," Jin-woo whispered, even though his own voice shook with fear. Sung-ho's arm was bent at an angle that arms should never bend. Jin-woo had taken care of Sung-ho for 3 years now, ever since Sung-ho's parents died in a car accident. The boy was everything to him, his responsibility, his family, his little brother in all the ways that mattered. Jin-woo grabbed his phone with shaking fingers. He needed to call for help. He needed someone to tell him what to do. His mind immediately went to Min-jun. And pulled up Min-jun's contact. His finger pulled up Min-jun's contact. His finger slipped. He didn't notice that he'd tapped the number right below Min-jun's name, a number that belonged to someone he'd never met, someone who lived in a world completely different from his own. He broke his arm. "I need help now. Please come quickly." "I don't know what to do," Jin-woo typed frantically, his vision blurred with tears. He hit send and immediately called for an ambulance, then sat on the floor next to Sung-ho, holding the boy's good hand and whispering that everything would be all right, even though he wasn't sure of anything anymore. 20 minutes passed. The ambulance arrived and took them to the hospital. 30 minutes passed while doctors examined Sung-ho. 45 minutes, and Jin-woo tried calling Min-jun 3 times, but each call went to voicemail. 1 hour, and Jin-woo sat in the waiting room feeling more alone than he'd ever felt in his life. Then the hospital doors burst open. 5 men in expensive black suits walked in like they owned the place. They moved with a confidence that made everyone in the waiting room instinctively lean away. The man in the front was tall, probably in his mid-20s, with sharp features and eyes that seemed to see everything. "He?" the man asked the nurse at the desk. "He?" the man asked the nurse at the desk, his voice deep and commanding. The nurse looked terrified. "Sir? I need to know who you're looking for." "The boy who sent me this message," the man said, holding up his phone. "Jin-woo." Jin-woo's head snapped up. How did this stranger know his name? How did this stranger get his message? His confused expression must have given him away because the man's dark eyes immediately locked onto him. The stranger walked over, and Jin-woo felt like he should be afraid, but something in the man's eyes wasn't quite what he expected. There was concern there, hidden beneath layers of coldness. "You're Jin-woo?" the man asked. Yes, Jin-woo stammered. "I'm sorry. Do I know you?" "You sent me a message saying someone broke your arm and you needed help immediately." Jin-woo's face went pale as he realized his mistake. Oh no, I'm so sorry. I meant to text my boyfriend, but I was so scared and my hands were shaking." "Your cousin broke his arm, not you," the man observed, glancing at the treatment room where Sung-ho was. "The boy inside, he fell downstairs." "How did you—" Jin-woo started, but one of the men in suits had clearly already gathered information. "I'm Kang Dae-hyun," the stranger said, and something about the way he said his name made Jin-woo feel like he should recognize it. "When I received your message, I thought someone had hurt you. I don't take threats to people lightly." Jin-woo didn't understand. Why would a stranger care so much about a wrong number text? But before he could ask, Dae-hyun was already walking to the nurse's station. Jin-woo watched in amazement as Dae-hyun spoke quietly to the administrator, handed over what looked like a credit card, and within minutes, Sung-ho was being moved to a private room with the best orthopedic surgeon in the hospital. "Wait, I can't afford—" Jin-woo protested, jumping up. Dae-hyun turned to him. It's handled. Take care of your cousin. But I don't even know you. Why would you? Because you asked for help and I came, Dae-hyun said simply. He pulled out a business card and pressed it into Jin-woo's hand. This is my real number. If you ever need help again, use it properly this time. Then he was gone, leaving Jin-woo standing in the middle of the hospital hallway, clutching a black business card with gold lettering and wondering what just happened. 3 hours later, Jin-woo was sitting by Sung-ho's bedside. The surgery had gone well. Sung-ho's arm was in a cast, and the boy was sleeping peacefully thanks to pain medication. Jin-woo held his little cousin's hand and felt tears finally fall down his cheeks. Tears of relief, exhaustion, and something else he couldn't quite name. The door opened. For a moment, Jin-woo's heart lifted, thinking maybe it was Dae-hyun coming back to check on them. But it was Min-jun. Min-jun walked in casually, his hands in his pockets, looking annoyed rather than concerned. He was handsome. Jin-woo had always thought so, with soft features and light brown hair. But right now, Jin-woo couldn't understand why he'd ever found that face comforting. Finally, Min-jun said, I've been calling you for the past hour. Why weren't you answering? Jin-woo stared at his boyfriend in disbelief. I texted you 3 hours ago that Sung-ho broke his arm. I called you multiple times. Where were you? Min-jun shrugged. I was at the library studying. My phone was on silent. You know I can't be disturbed when I'm studying, Jin-woo. We talked about this. This was an emergency, Jin-woo said quietly. And you handled it, didn't you? Sung-ho's fine. You're being dramatic. Min-jun pulled out his phone and started scrolling through it. Anyway, I can't stay long. I have plans tonight. Something cracked inside Jin-woo's chest, but he swallowed the pain. Okay. You're not going to ask what plans? Min-jun looked up, almost disappointed. Would it matter if I did? Min-jun smirked. Probably not. Listen, I'll call you tomorrow. Try not to have any more emergencies, okay? Some of us have important things to do. He left without kissing Jin-woo goodbye, without checking on Sung-ho, without showing any sign that he cared at all. Jin-woo sat in the silence of the hospital room, listening to Sung-ho's soft breathing and feeling more alone than ever. He pulled out the black business card from his pocket and stared at it. The name Kang Dae-hyun was embossed in gold with just a phone number below it. No company name, no address, nothing else. A stranger had shown more care for him in 1 hour than his boyfriend had in weeks. That night, after Sung-ho woke up and they talked and Jin-woo made sure his little cousin knew everything would be okay, Jin-woo lay on the uncomfortable hospital couch and couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about dark eyes that held secrets, about a man who commanded a room just by walking into it, about the way Dae-hyun had looked at him like he actually mattered. Helped us. But Sung-ho's surgery went well. I don't know why you helped us, but Sung-ho's surgery went well because of you. I can't repay you, but I wanted you to know that you saved us today. He didn't expect a response. It was the middle of the night, and Dae-hyun was probably someone important and busy who wouldn't remember a college student he'd met once by accident. But his phone buzzed 30 seconds later. I'm glad the boy's all right. How are you holding up? Jin-woo stared at the message, surprised. I'm okay, tired, scared, but okay. Fear is natural. It means you care. That's not a weakness. They texted back and forth for an hour. Dae-hyun asked about Sung-ho, about how Jin-woo ended up raising his cousin, about what Jin-woo studied in college. Jin-woo learned that Dae-hyun didn't sleep much, that he liked his coffee black, that he'd lost people too and understood what it meant to be responsible for someone else's life. They didn't talk about what Dae-hyun did for work, and Jin-woo didn't ask. Some part of him knew that Dae-hyun's world was dangerous, that those men in suits weren't regular bodyguards, that the way the hospital staff had jumped to attention meant Dae-hyun had the kind of power that came from places polite society didn't talk about. But in those late-night messages, Dae-hyun didn't feel dangerous. He felt like someone who understood loneliness, who knew what it meant to carry heavy weights alone. Over the next 3 weeks, they kept texting, It started with Jin-woo sending updates about Sung-ho's recovery. Then it became daily good morning messages. Then it became conversations about everything and nothing. Favorite foods, childhood memories, dreams for the future. Jin-woo found himself smiling at his phone in the middle of class. He found himself looking forward to the moment when his phone would buzz and Dae-hyun's name would appear on the screen. He found himself comparing every conversation with Min-jun to the ones he had with Dae-hyun, and Min-jun always came up short. Min-jun never asked how Jin-woo's day was. Dae-hyun asked every single day. Min-jun forgot their one-year anniversary. Dae-hyun remembered that Sung-ho had a math test and sent him a good luck message. Min-jun made Jin-woo feel small and needy. Dae-hyun made him feel seen and valued. Jin-woo knew he was in trouble. He knew he was developing feelings for someone he'd only met once, someone who lived in a completely different world. But he couldn't stop. For the first time in months, maybe years, he felt like someone actually cared about him. Then came the day that shattered everything. Jin-woo had decided to surprise Min-jun at his apartment. They'd been dating for a year, and Jin-woo thought maybe if he made more effort, if he showed Min-jun that he cared, maybe things would get better between them. He stopped by Min-jun's favorite bakery and bought expensive pastries with money he couldn't really afford to spend. He took the bus across town to Min-jun's neighborhood, feeling nervous and hopeful. He knocked on the door. No answer. He knocked again. Still nothing. Jin-woo knew Min-jun was home because his car was parked outside. Maybe he was wearing headphones or in the shower. Jin-woo tried the doorknob and found it unlocked. "Min-jun, it's me," he called out as he stepped inside. He heard laughter from the bedroom. Two voices. One was Min-jun's. The other voice made Jin-woo's blood run cold because he recognized it. It was Chang-min, Jin-woo's best friend since high school. Jin-woo's hands went numb. The bag of pastries fell to the floor. He knew what he would see before he even reached the bedroom door, but some terrible part of him needed to confirm it. I needed to see the truth with his own eyes. He pushed the door open. Min-jun and Chang-min were on the bed together, wrapped around each other in a way that left no doubt about what was happening. They sprang apart when they saw Jin-woo standing in the doorway. For a moment, nobody spoke. The silence was so complete that Jin-woo could hear his own heartbeat pounding in his ears, could hear the clock on the wall ticking, could hear the world ending in slow motion. "Jin-woo," Min-jun finally said. But Min-jun just shrugged, like this was a good idea. "You shouldn't be here." "How long?" Jin-woo's voice came out as a whisper. Chang-min at least had the decency to look ashamed, but Min-jun just shrugged, like this was a minor inconvenience rather than a complete betrayal. 6 months, Min-jun said casually. "Maybe 7. I don't really keep track." 6 months. Jin-woo did the math in his head. 6 months ago was when he'd first told Min-jun he loved him. 6 months ago was when Jin-woo had started making sacrifices to spend more time with Min-jun, taking fewer work shifts, seeing his friends less often. 6 months of lies. "Why?" Jin-woo asked. "If you didn't want to be with me, why didn't you just end it?" Min-jun laughed, actually laughed. "Because you're convenient, Jin-woo. You're always available, always eager to please. You cook for me, you help me with my papers, you never demand anything. Why would I give that up?" "But you said you loved me." "I say a lot of things." Min-jun got up from the bed, not even bothering to act sorry. "Look, this isn't working out anymore anyway. You're too clingy, too emotional, too poor. I was going to break up with you soon anyway." Each word was a knife in Jin-woo's chest, but what hurt most was looking at Chang-min, his best friend, who couldn't even meet his eyes. "You too?" Jin-woo asked Chang-min. "We've been friends for 5 years. "I'm sorry," Chang-min mumbled. "It just happened." "Things don't just happen," Jin-woo said, and he was surprised by how steady his voice was, even though he was dying inside. "People make choices. You both chose this." "Don't be dramatic," Min-jun said, rolling his eyes. "We had some fun, but it's over now. You can leave." "I trusted you," Jin-woo said, looking at both of them. "I gave you everything I had." "That's your problem," Min-jun said coldly. "You give too much to people who don't want it. Maybe learn to be less pathetic." Then Min-jun pushed Jin-woo, not hard enough to really hurt him, but enough to make him stumble backward. Jin-woo's shoulder hit the doorframe, sending a sharp pain through his body. But the physical pain was nothing compared to the agony in his chest. Jin-woo left the apartment in a daze. He walked down the stairs, through the building lobby, out onto the street. The autumn air was cold, but he couldn't feel it. He couldn't feel anything except the overwhelming weight of betrayal, the crushing realization that the two people he'd trusted most had been lying to him for months. He walked for blocks without knowing where he was going. His phone kept buzzing. Min-jun was calling, probably to tell him to not tell anyone, to keep quiet about what he'd seen. Jin-woo ignored the calls. He kept walking until his legs gave out, until he found himself sitting on a bench in a small park, staring at nothing. His phone buzzed again. This time it was a text from Dae-hyun. "Good morning. How are you today?" Those simple words broke something in Jin-woo. He started crying, right there on the bench in the middle of the park, not caring who saw him. He cried for the year he'd wasted on Min-jun, for the friendship he'd lost with Chang-min, for the trust that had been shattered, for feeling so stupid and worthless and alone. His hands shook as he typed a response. "Can you help me? I'm hurt and alone. Please." The response came within seconds. "Where are you? I'm coming right now." Jin-woo sent his location, then sat on that bench and waited, wondering if he was making another mistake, if trusting someone new would just lead to more pain. But he had nowhere else to go, no one else to call. His parents had died when he was 17. Sung-ho was too young to burden with this. And now the two people he'd counted on had revealed themselves to be liars. A black car pulled up 15 minutes later. Dae-hyun got out, and the moment Jin-woo saw him, he felt something break open in his chest. Dae-hyun took one look at Jin-woo's tear-stained face and the way he was holding his injured shoulder, and his expression turned dangerous. "Who did this to you?" Dae-hyun asked quietly, but there was steel in his voice. "It doesn't matter," Jin-woo said. "It matters to me. Tell me who hurt you." And suddenly, Jin-woo was telling him everything. The words poured out like a dam breaking, about Min-jun and Chang-min, about the betrayal, about feeling stupid and worthless, about not knowing who to trust anymore. Dae-hyun listened to every word, his jaw getting tighter and tighter, his hands clenching into fists. When Jin-woo finished, Dae-hyun was silent for a long moment. Then he said, "Come with me. You're not going back to your apartment tonight. You need somewhere safe." "I can't just leave." "Sung-ho." "I'll send someone to stay with Sung-ho, someone trustworthy. The boy will be protected and cared for. But you need to heal, Jin-woo. And you can't do that alone." Jin-woo was too tired to argue. He let Dae-hyun guide him to the car, let himself be taken care of for the first time in forever. As they drove through the city toward wherever Dae-hyun was taking him, Jin-woo leaned his head against the window and felt tears continue to fall silently down his cheeks. He didn't know it yet, but everything in his life was about to change. The wrong number that had brought them together was about to become the right choice that would save them both. But first, there would be revenge, there would be danger, and there would be a reckoning that would shake both their worlds to the foundation. For now, Jin-woo simply closed his eyes and let himself trust one more time, hoping desperately that this time he wasn't making a mistake. The safe house wasn't what Jin-woo expected. He'd imagined something cold and industrial, like the hideouts he'd seen in movies. Instead, Dae-hyun brought him to a beautiful modern apartment on the top floor of a building overlooking the Han River. The space was minimalist, but warm, with floor-to-ceiling windows that let in the city lights, soft gray furniture, and carefully chosen art on the walls. "This is your place?" Jin-woo asked quietly as Dae-hyun unlocked the door. "One of them," Dae-hyun said. He guided Jin-woo inside with a gentle hand on his back. "You'll stay here while you heal. No one knows about this location except my most trusted people. You'll be safe." Safe. Jin-woo almost laughed at the word. He hadn't felt safe in so long that he'd forgotten what it meant. Dae-hyun led him to a bathroom and started a warm bath without being asked. He handed Jin-woo soft towels and clean clothes, a t-shirt and sweatpants that were clearly Dae-hyun's own, but far too big for Jin-woo's smaller frame. "Take your time. I'll make something to eat." Jin-woo soaked in the bath until his fingers pruned, trying to wash away the feeling of betrayal that clung to his skin. His shoulder ached where he'd hit the doorframe, and his eyes burned from crying. He felt hollow, like someone had scooped out everything inside him and left just an empty shell. When he finally emerged, he dressed in Dae-hyun's clothes that smelled like expensive cologne and something uniquely comforting. He found Dae-hyun in the kitchen. The man who commanded fear and respect from everyone around him was standing at the stove, making soup. "You cook?" Jin-woo asked, surprised. "I live alone," Dae-hyun said simply. "Sit. You need to eat." Jin-woo sat at the kitchen island and watched Dae-hyun move around the kitchen with practiced ease. It was strange seeing this powerful man doing something so domestic, so normal. Dae-hyun ladled soup into a bowl and set it in front of Jin-woo, along with warm rice and several side dishes. "I'm not really hungry," Jin-woo said. "Eat anyway. Your body needs fuel, even if your heart is broken." There was something about the way Dae-hyun said it, straightforward, honest, without pity, that made Jin-woo pick up his spoon. The soup was delicious, rich, and warming. Or he found himself eating more than he expected, and Dae-hyun kept quietly refilling his bowl until Jin-woo finally had to stop. "Thank you," Jin-woo said softly, "for everything. I don't know why you're being so kind to me." Dae-hyun was quiet for a moment, his dark eyes studying Jin-woo's face. "Because when you sent that first text by mistake, asking for help, you reminded me of someone I couldn't save. And when I saw you in that hospital with your cousin, taking care of him even though you were scared and alone, I saw something I thought I'd forgotten existed." "What?" "Goodness," Dae-hyun said simply. "Real, honest goodness. You're a good person, Jin-woo, and good people shouldn't be hurt by those who don't deserve them." Jin-woo felt tears welling up again. "I don't feel very good right now. I feel stupid." Trusting someone doesn't make you stupid. It makes you brave. They're the ones who should be ashamed, and not you. They talked late into the night. Jin-woo found himself telling Dae-hyun things he'd never told anyone, about his parents' death, about the weight of raising Sung-ho alone, about how lonely he'd been even when he was with Min-jun, about his dreams of becoming a social worker to help kids like Sung-ho who'd lost their families. Dae-hyun listened to everything without judgment, and slowly he began to share his own story. "I wasn't always like this," Dae-hyun said, staring out at the city lights. "I grew up in a normal family. My father was a police detective. My mother was a teacher. We weren't rich, but we were happy." "What happened?" Jin-woo asked gently. "My father was investigating a gang. He got too close to the truth and they killed him. My mother saw it happen, and the trauma was too much. She died 6 months later. The doctors said it was a heart attack, but I knew better. She died of a broken heart." "I'm so sorry," Jin-woo whispered. "I was 18, Dae-hyun continued, angry, alone, and desperate for justice. The legal system failed me. The gang members walked free on technicalities, so I decided to get justice my own way. I spent years working my way into their organization, learning everything I could, becoming someone they trusted. Then, when the time was right, I destroyed them from the inside." "Did it help? The revenge?" Dae-hyun smiled sadly. "For about 5 minutes. Then I realized my parents were still gone, so nothing I did would bring them back. But by then, I was already in too deep. I'd built an empire on revenge, and I didn't know how to live any other way." "Until now?" Jin-woo asked. Dae-hyun looked at him, and there was something vulnerable in his eyes that Jin-woo had never seen before. "Until I met someone who reminded me what I'd been fighting for in the first place. Not revenge. Protection. Keeping good people safe." The air between them felt charged with something Jin-woo was afraid to name. He stood up quickly. "I should sleep. It's late." Dae-hyun showed him to a guest room that was more luxurious than anywhere Jin-woo had ever stayed. "I'm right across the hall if you need anything. Tae-ho, my right-hand man, has someone watching Sung-ho. Your cousin is safe, and he thinks you're staying at a friend's house." "Thank you," Jin-woo said. Then, impulsively, he hugged Dae-hyun. It was brief, just a moment of contact, but Jin-woo felt Dae-hyun tense in surprise before slowly, carefully, hugging him back. "Good night, Jin-woo," Dae-hyun said softly. Jin-woo slept deeply that night, the first real sleep he'd had in weeks. When he woke up, morning sunlight was streaming through the windows, and he could smell coffee brewing. He padded out to the kitchen and found Dae-hyun already dressed in another perfect suit, looking at his phone with a dark expression. "What's wrong?" Jin-woo asked. Dae-hyun looked up and his expression softened slightly when he saw Jin-woo. "Your ex-boyfriend has been spreading rumors about you at your university, saying you were obsessive, that you stalked him, that you made up lies about him cheating." Jin-woo felt his stomach drop. Of course he is. He needs to control the narrative before I can tell anyone the truth. "Do you want to tell people the truth?" Dae-hyun asked. "I don't know. I just want to forget about him and move on." Dae-hyun set down his coffee cup. "I could make him stop. I could make him regret ever hurting you." There was something dangerous in Dae-hyun's voice, and Jin-woo realized what he was offering. "You mean hurt him?" "Not physically. I don't need to use violence to ruin someone's life. I have resources, connections. I could make sure he loses everything he values." Jin-woo thought about it. Part of him wanted revenge, wanted Min-jun to suffer the way he was suffering. But another part of him, the part that had always tried to be good, hesitated. "Would it make you like the men who killed your parents?" Jin-woo asked quietly. Dae-hyun froze. "That's different." "Is it? Using power to hurt people who hurt you. Where's the line?" "He hurt you," Dae-hyun said, and there was raw emotion in his voice. "He used you, betrayed you, and now he's trying to destroy your reputation. He deserves to pay." "Maybe," Jin-woo said, "but I don't want you to become someone you'll regret being. Not for me." They stared at each other for a long moment. Then Dae-hyun said, "What if I could make him pay without crossing that line? Would you let me?" Jin-woo thought about Min-jun's smug face, about Chang-min's inability to look him in the eye, about the rumors spreading through his university. He thought about how they'd used him, lied to him, made him feel worthless. "Nothing illegal," Jin-woo said finally, "and nothing violent. But if you can make him understand what he did was wrong, then yes, I want him to know there are consequences." Dae-hyun smiled, and it wasn't a kind smile. "Consider it done." Over the next 2 weeks, Jin-woo stayed at Dae-hyun's safe house. Dae-hyun worked during the days, but every evening he came home and they had dinner together. They talked about everything and nothing. Dae-hyun helped Jin-woo with his university coursework. Jin-woo taught Dae-hyun how to make his favorite comfort foods. Slowly, Jin-woo felt his broken heart beginning to heal. But he was also feeling something else growing, something warm and dangerous that he was afraid to acknowledge. He was falling in love with Dae-hyun. It was there in the way Dae-hyun remembered how Jin-woo liked his coffee, in the soft sweaters he bought because he noticed Jin-woo was always cold, in the way he listened to Jin-woo's dreams like they mattered. It was there in the gentle touches, Dae-hyun's hand on his back, the brush of fingers when they passed dishes at dinner, the way Dae-hyun watched him with something like wonder in his eyes. Jin-woo knew it was too soon. He knew he was vulnerable and probably confusing gratitude with love, but he couldn't stop his heart from reaching toward this man who had shown him what it felt like to be truly cared for. Meanwhile, Dae-hyun kept his promise. Jin-woo didn't ask for details, but he noticed things. Min-jun stopped showing up to classes. The rumors at university suddenly shifted. People started questioning Min-jun's version of events, started asking why Chang-min and Min-jun were suddenly so close. Someone anonymously sent screenshots to the university dean showing that Min-jun had plagiarized several papers that Jin-woo had helped him with, though Jin-woo hadn't known Min-jun was just copying his work. Min-jun's scholarship was revoked, so his part-time job at a prestigious company suddenly ended. His wealthy new boyfriend broke up with him when the money and status disappeared. Dae-hyun never took credit for any of it. He never mentioned it at all. But Jin-woo knew. and he felt a guilty satisfaction watching karma catch up to people who'd hurt him. One evening, about 3 weeks after Jin-woo had first come to stay, Dae-hyun came home looking tired and sad. Jin-woo was cooking dinner, and he immediately noticed. "Me bad day?" Jin-woo asked. Dae-hyun nodded and sank onto the couch. Jin-woo brought him tea and sat beside him. "Want to talk about it?" "I had to make a decision today that will hurt someone," Dae-hyun said quietly. "It's necessary for business, but I still hate it. There was a time when decisions like this didn't bother me. But lately, I keep thinking about the person I'm becoming, and I don't like it." "Why do you do this work?" Jin-woo asked. "If it makes you unhappy, then why not stop?" "Because it's all I know. Because people depend on me. Because walking away isn't as easy as just deciding to quit." "What would you do if you could do anything?" Jin-woo asked. Dae-hyun was quiet for a long moment. "I'd open a security company, legitimate protection services for people who need it. Use my skills to help people legally instead of existing in the shadows." "But that's just a dream. Why can't it be real?" "Because dreams are for people who haven't lost everything," Dae-hyun said bitterly. Jin-woo took Dae-hyun's hand without thinking. "I lost my parents. I almost lost Sung-ho. I lost the person I thought I loved and my best friend. But I still have dreams. I still believe things can get better. Maybe you can too." Dae-hyun looked down at their joined hands, then up at Jin-woo's face. "How are you so strong?" "I'm not strong. I'm scared all the time, but I'm learning that being scared doesn't mean giving up." Something shifted in Dae-hyun's expression. He reached up slowly, giving Jin-woo time to pull away, and cupped Jin-woo's face with his free hand. "You're extraordinary," he whispered. "I'm really not," Jin-woo said, but his voice came out shaky. "To me you are." They were so close now that Jin-woo could feel Dae-hyun's breath on his lips. His heart was pounding so hard he was sure Dae-hyun could hear it. This was happening too fast, his rational mind said. He was too vulnerable, too broken, too likely to make another mistake. But his heart said something different. His heart said that this felt right in a way nothing with Min-jun ever had. His heart said that Dae-hyun had seen him at his worst and still looked at him like he was precious. His heart said to take the leap. "Dae-hyun," Jin-woo whispered, "I think I'm falling for you." Dae-hyun's eyes darkened with emotion. "You shouldn't. I'm not a good man, Jin-woo. I've done terrible things. I live in a world that would only hurt you. You've never hurt me. You've only protected me. For now. But eventually my world will touch yours, and I couldn't bear it if something happened to you because of me." Jin-woo leaned forward until their foreheads touched. "Then leave that world. Come into mine instead. It's not that simple. It could be. If you wanted it badly enough, it could be." Dae-hyun closed his eyes. "You're asking me to give up everything I've built. I'm asking you to build something better, something that doesn't keep you awake at night hating yourself, something that makes you happy." When Dae-hyun opened his eyes, there were tears in them. "I don't remember how to be happy." "Then let me teach you," Jin-woo said. And then he closed the distance and kissed Dae-hyun. It was soft and sweet, and nothing like the kisses Jin-woo had shared with Min-jun. This felt like coming home, like finding something he hadn't known he was searching for. Dae-hyun kissed him back gently, carefully, like Jin-woo was something precious that might break. When they pulled apart, Dae-hyun was looking at him with wonder and fear and something that looked a lot like love. "I can't promise I know how to do this," Dae-hyun said. "I can't promise I won't mess this up." "I can't promise that either," Jin-woo admitted. "But maybe we can figure it out together." They sat on that couch for hours, she holding each other, talking about possibilities and fears and hopes. Jin-woo told Dae-hyun what he needed: honesty, patience, someone who wouldn't abandon him when things got hard. Dae-hyun told Jin-woo his fears, that he wasn't good enough, that he'd only bring danger, that Jin-woo deserved someone better. "I don't want someone better," Jin-woo said firmly. "I want someone real, and you're the most real person I've ever met." That night, Dae-hyun made a decision. He called Tae-ho, all his most trusted friend and right-hand man, and told him to start making preparations. He was going to leave the organization. It would take time. It would be dangerous. But he was going to do it. "For the pretty college boy?" Tae-ho asked, and there was amusement in his voice. "For myself," Dae-hyun corrected. "Jin-woo just reminded me who I wanted to be before I forgot." But while Dae-hyun was planning his exit, other forces were moving in the shadows. Min-jun, bitter and desperate after losing everything, had been asking questions. He'd discovered that Jin-woo was staying with someone powerful. He'd discovered Dae-hyun's name. And in his anger and need for revenge, Min-jun made the worst decision of his life. He reached out to Dae-hyun's enemies. There was a rival gang that had been trying to find a weakness in Dae-hyun's armor for years. When Min-jun came to them with information about Jin-woo, about Sung-ho, about how Dae-hyun seemed to care for this nobody college student, they listened, and they started making plans. Jin-woo was at the safe house one afternoon studying for an exam when his phone rang. It was the number of the person Tae-ho had assigned to watch over Sung-ho. Jin-woo answered immediately. "Hello?" There was breathing on the other end, but it wasn't the guard. It was Sung-ho, and his voice was shaking with terror. "Jin-woo, help me. There are men here, and they took Uncle away, and they said they're taking me somewhere, and I'm scared." The line went dead. Jin-woo's blood turned to ice. His hands shook so badly he almost dropped the phone. He called Dae-hyun immediately. "Sung-ho!" he gasped when Dae-hyun answered. "Someone took Sung-ho. They called from the guard's phone. Dae-hyun, someone took my little brother." There was a moment of deadly silence. Then Dae-hyun's voice came through, cold and controlled in a way that was somehow more frightening than rage. "I'm coming to get you right now. We will find him, Jin-woo. I promise you we will find him and bring him home. What if they hurt him? What if... They won't. They took him to get to me, which means they'll keep him alive as leverage. Stay where you are. Lock all the doors. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Those 10 minutes felt like hours. Jin-woo paced the apartment, his mind spiraling through every terrible possibility. Sung-ho was just a child. He'd already lost so much in his young life. This couldn't be happening. This couldn't be real. When Dae-hyun arrived, Tae-ho was with him. Tae-ho was tall and intimidating, with sharp eyes and a scar across his left cheek. But when he looked at Jin-woo, there was sympathy there. "We know who took him," Dae-hyun said immediately. "A rival organization. They've been trying to find leverage against me for months. And they had inside information." "What inside information?" Jin-woo asked. Dae-hyun pulled out his phone and showed Jin-woo security footage. It showed Min-jun meeting with men Jin-woo didn't recognize, talking, gesturing. The footage was from 3 days ago. "Your ex-boyfriend sold information about you and Sung-ho to my enemies," Dae-hyun said, and his voice was like ice. "He told them where to find Sung-ho, who was watching him, everything. This is my fault. I should have been more careful. I should have anticipated." "This is Min-jun's fault," Jin-woo interrupted, fury rising through his fear. "He did this. He put a child in danger because he couldn't handle the consequences of his own actions. We'll make this right," Tae-ho said. "We have people searching right now. They'll find where they're holding the boy." "And when we do," Dae-hyun said, and there was something lethal in his expression, "they'll learn why you don't touch the people I protect." Jin-woo grabbed Dae-hyun's arm. "Promise me you won't become someone you'll regret being. Even for this. Even for Sung-ho. Jin-woo, promise me. Sung-ho wouldn't want you to become a monster to save him, and neither do I." Dae-hyun looked at him for a long moment, then he nodded slowly. "I promise. No unnecessary violence. But I will do whatever it takes to bring him home safely." It took 6 hours. And 6 hours of Jin-woo sitting in that apartment, unable to eat, unable to think, barely able to breathe. Dae-hyun and Tae-ho coordinated their people, tracked down information, made calls. Jin-woo had never seen Dae-hyun like this, completely focused, commanding, every inch the powerful leader he'd built himself into. Finally, as the sun was setting, Taeho got a call. He listened, then nodded. "We found him. Warehouse District, Sector 7. They have 6 men guarding him." "How many men do we have available?" Dae-hyun asked. 20, ready to move on your order." "Do it. Non-lethal force if possible, but the priority is getting Sung-ho out safely. No risks with the boy's life." "Wait," Jin-woo said. "I'm coming with you." "Absolutely not," Dae-hyun said immediately. "It's too dangerous. He's my family. I'm not staying here while you risk your life for him. Jin-woo, these people are dangerous. If something happened to you, if something happens to Sung-ho and I wasn't there, I'd never forgive myself. I'm coming. You can't stop me." Dae-hyun looked like he wanted to argue, but Taeho put a hand on his shoulder. "Let him come. Put him in the secondary vehicle with guards. He won't be in the direct action, but he'll be close enough." Dae-hyun finally, reluctantly, agreed. The drive to the warehouse district was tense. Jin-woo sat in the back of a car with 2 of Dae-hyun's guards. I'm watching the city pass by, praying harder than he'd ever prayed in his life. They arrived at a location 2 blocks from the target warehouse. Dae-hyun came to Jin-woo's car one more time. "Stay here. No matter what you hear, no matter what happens, you stay in this car with these guards. Understood?" Jin-woo nodded. Dae-hyun looked like he wanted to say more, wanted to kiss him maybe, but with everyone watching, he just squeezed Jin-woo's hand once, hard. "I'll bring him back. I swear!" Then he was gone, disappearing into the night with Taeho and their team. Jin-woo waited. He heard sounds in the distance, shouts, crashes, what might have been gunshots, though he prayed they weren't. His guards listened to communication through earpieces, their faces tense but professional. Then, after what felt like an eternity but was probably only 20 minutes, Jin-woo's guard said, "They have the boy. He's safe. They're coming out now." Jin-woo practically fell out of the car. He ran toward the warehouse, his guards calling after him but not stopping him. And then he saw them. Dae-hyun carrying Sung-ho in his arms, the boy wrapped in Dae-hyun's jacket, Taeho walking beside them looking grim but satisfied. "Sung-ho!" Jin-woo cried. Sung-ho looked up, saw Jin-woo, and started crying. "Jin-woo!" Dae-hyun handed Sung-ho over carefully, and Jin-woo crushed his little cousin in a hug, tears streaming down his face. "Are you okay? Did they hurt you?" "I was scared. But I'm okay. The scary man saved me," Sung-ho said, looking at Dae-hyun with wide eyes. "Thank you," Jin-woo said to Dae-hyun, his voice breaking. "Thank you. Always," Dae-hyun said simply. Later that night, after they'd taken Sung-ho to the hospital to be checked over and confirmed he was physically fine, after they'd brought him back to the safe house and gotten him fed and comfortable, after Sung-ho had finally fallen asleep in the guest room, Jin-woo and Dae-hyun sat in the living room in exhausted silence. "The men who took him are in police custody," Dae-hyun said quietly. "I made sure of it. And Min-jun, he's been arrested too. Conspiracy to kidnap a minor. He'll go to prison for a long time." "Good," Jin-woo said, and he was surprised by how much he meant it. "He almost got Sung-ho killed." "I'm sorry," Dae-hyun said. "This happened because of me, and because of my world touching yours like I feared it would." Jin-woo moved to sit closer to Dae-hyun, taking his hand. "No, this happened because Min-jun is a terrible person who hurt people when he didn't get his way. You saved Sung-ho. You protected us. But I put you in danger in the first place." "Dae-hyun," Jin-woo interrupted, cupping Dae-hyun's face in his hands. "I love you. Do you understand? I love you. Not despite who you are, but because of it. Because you're strong and protective, and because you came into my life by accident and stayed by choice." Dae-hyun stared at him, his dark eyes wide with shock and emotion. "You can't love me. You barely know me. I know enough. I know you're kind even though you pretend not to be. I know you carry the weight of your past like a burden, but you keep trying to be better. I know you make me feel safe and seen and valued." That's enough." "I don't deserve you," Dae-hyun whispered. "Maybe not. But you have me anyway, if you want me." Dae-hyun pulled Jin-woo into his arms and held him so tightly it almost hurt. "I want you. I want you so much it terrifies me. But I meant what I said before. I'm leaving this life. After tonight, after seeing how close I came to losing you both, I'm done. I'm going to do this right." "We'll do it together," Jin-woo said. They fell asleep on the couch that night, wrapped around each other, both of them finally believing that maybe, just maybe, they could have something beautiful and real. But neither of them knew that the consequences of that night were just beginning, and that the biggest challenges to their love and their survival were still to come. The morning after Sung-ho's rescue, Jin-woo woke up on the couch with sunlight streaming through the windows and Dae-hyun's arms still around him. For a moment, he let himself exist in that peaceful space between sleep and waking, where the world felt safe and simple. Then reality came crashing back. Sung-ho had been kidnapped, Min-jun had betrayed them in the worst possible way, and Dae-hyun had promised to leave his dangerous life behind. Jin-woo carefully extracted himself from Dae-hyun's embrace and went to check on Sung-ho. His little cousin was awake, sitting up in bed and looking small and scared. Jin-woo sat beside him and pulled him into a hug. "Are we safe now?" Sung-ho asked quietly. "Yes," Jin-woo promised. Dae-hyun made sure of it. "The bad people can't hurt us anymore." "Is Dae-hyun your boyfriend?" Sung-ho asked with the blunt directness of children. Jin-woo felt his cheeks heat up. "Would that be okay with you if he was?" Sung-ho considered this seriously. "He seems scary, but he saved me. And he makes you smile more than Min-jun ever did. So yeah, I guess it's okay." Jin-woo hugged his cousin tighter, grateful for the resilience of children. "I love you, Sung-ho. I'm sorry this happened." "It's not your fault," Sung-ho said, which was almost exactly what Jin-woo had told Dae-hyun last night. Maybe they were all learning to stop blaming themselves for other people's evil choices. Over the next few days, life began to reorganize itself into a new pattern. Dae-hyun moved quickly and decisively. He called meetings with his organization, making his intentions clear. He was stepping down, and Tae-ho would take over leadership. "Are you sure about this?" Tae-ho asked during one of these meetings that Jin-woo wasn't present for, but Dae-hyun told him about later. "You built this organization from nothing. You're walking away from everything." "I'm walking towards something better," Dae-hyun corrected, "and I need to know everyone under your leadership will be protected. I need to know they won't face retaliation because I left." "They won't," Tae-ho promised. "You've made us strong enough to stand without you. And I'll make sure no one touches Jin-woo or the kid. You have my word." "Thank you, my friend," Dae-hyun said, "for everything. For following me all these years, even when the path was dark." "You saved my life once," Tae-ho said simply. "I'll spend the rest of mine making sure yours is worth living." The transition wasn't without complications. There were members of the organization who didn't want Dae-hyun to leave, who saw it as abandonment or weakness. There were rival groups who saw an opportunity in the leadership change. But Dae-hyun had built his empire on loyalty and strength, and those foundations held. During this time, Jin-woo and Sung-ho moved back to their own apartment, but Dae-hyun visited every day. Sometimes he brought groceries. Sometimes he helped Sung-ho with homework. Sometimes he just sat with Jin-woo in comfortable silence, both of them healing from their respective traumas. One evening, about 2 weeks after the kidnapping, there was a knock on Jin-woo's apartment door. Jin-woo looked through the peephole and froze. It was Chang-min. His former best friend stood in the hallway looking nervous and ashamed. Jin-woo's first instinct was to not open the door, to pretend he wasn't home, but something made him unlock it. "Jin-woo," Chang-min started immediately. "I know you probably don't want to see me, but I needed to come apologize in person." "Okay," Jin-woo said. "You two were basically broken up, that you 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 were basically broken up. You two were basically broken up. That you wouldn't care. And I was stupid enough to believe him because I wanted to. I was selfish. And I betrayed your trust. And I have no excuse. No, you don't. Jin-woo agreed. And then when I found out what Min-jun did, about the kidnapping, about putting that child in danger, I realized how truly evil he is. How evil I was for going along with his lies. Chung-min had tears in his eyes now. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't even deserve your forgiveness. But I needed you to know that I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Jin-woo looked at his former best friend and felt nothing. No anger, no desire for revenge, just a sort of tired sadness. Thank you for apologizing. It doesn't fix anything, but I appreciate that you tried. We used to be so close, Chang-min said. Is there any chance we could ever— No, Jin-woo said firmly but not unkindly. Trust isn't something you break and then glue back together. You made your choice, and now I'm making mine. I hope you become a better person, Chang-min. I really do. But I won't be there to see it. He closed the door gently but definitively, and felt a weight lift from his shoulders. He didn't need closure from people who'd hurt him. He just needed to move forward. As weeks turned into months, Dae-hyun's transition out of his old life became complete. He officially opened his security company, legitimate, legal, everything above board. His first clients were small businesses and individuals who needed protection but couldn't afford traditional services. Dae-hyun offered them fair rates and exceptional service, using all the skills he'd developed in darker times but channeling them toward good. Taeho came to the grand opening of the office. He shook Dae-hyun's hand and said, "You did it. You really did it." "We did it," Dae-hyun corrected. "You made this possible by taking over for me. You'll always have backup if you need it," Taeho promised. "But I don't think you will. You've found what you needed." Jin-woo completed his degree in social work and immediately got a job at a community center helping at-risk youth. He threw himself into the work, using his own experiences to connect with kids who'd lost families or felt alone. He was good at it, and it filled his heart in ways he'd never expected. Sung-ho thrived. He made new friends at school, his broken arm healed completely, and he started calling Dae-hyun Hyung, older brother. Dae-hyun took the title seriously, showing up to Sung-ho's school events, helping him practice for soccer tryouts, teaching him to be strong but kind, and Jin-woo and Dae-hyun's relationship deepened into something real and lasting. And they had their challenges. Dae-hyun still sometimes woke from nightmares about his parents. Jin-woo still sometimes had moments of doubt where he worried he was making another mistake in trusting someone. But they worked through it together. They went to couples therapy, which felt weird and vulnerable at first, but ended up being invaluable. They learned how to communicate better, how to support each other through trauma, or how to build a relationship on foundation of honesty rather than projection or need. I used to think love was about finding someone perfect, Jin-woo told Dae-hyun one night as they lay in bed together. But I think it's actually about finding someone whose imperfections fit with yours. Are you saying I'm imperfect? Dae-hyun teased, and Jin-woo loved that he could tease now, that the cold exterior had melted away to reveal someone warm and playful underneath. Extremely imperfect, Jin-woo confirmed. You're bossy and overprotective, and you still have trouble talking about your feelings. And you're stubborn and too trusting, and you cry at commercials about dogs, Dae-hyun countered. See? Perfect imperfections. 2 years after that wrong number text that had changed everything, Dae-hyun took Jin-woo back to that hospital where they'd first met. Jin-woo was confused until Dae-hyun led him to the rooftop garden, a place patients and visitors could go for fresh air and peace. Why are we here? Jin-woo asked. Dae-hyun took both of Jin-woo's hands in his. Because this is where my life changed. This is where I met someone who reminded me that I could be more than my worst moments. This is where I started learning how to be happy again. Dae-hyun. Let me finish, Dae-hyun said, smiling nervously. You asked me once what I would do if I could do anything. I said I'd open a legitimate security company and use my skills to help people legally. You helped me make that dream real. But you also gave me a dream I didn't even know I could have. He got down on one knee, and Jin-woo's breath caught in his throat. You gave me the dream of family, Dae-hyun continued, of waking up next to someone I love, of being there for Sung-ho, of building a life that isn't defined by my past, but by the future we choose together. Jin-woo, will you marry me? Jin-woo was crying, happy tears streaming down his face. Yes, of course, yes. Dae-hyun slipped a simple but beautiful ring onto Jin-woo's finger, then stood and kissed him as the sun set over Seoul, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink. When they pulled apart, Jin-woo saw that Dae-hyun was crying too. I never thought I could have this, Dae-hyun whispered. I never thought I deserved it. We both deserve it, Jin-woo said firmly. We survived everything that tried to break us, and we came out stronger. We deserve every bit of happiness we can build together. They planned a small wedding, nothing fancy or extravagant, just the people who mattered most. Sung-ho was Jin-woo's best man, looking proud and grown up in his suit. Tae-ho stood beside Dae-hyun, the friend who'd supported him through darkness and into light. The ceremony was held in a small garden venue, intimate and beautiful. When it came time for vows, Jin-woo spoke from his heart. Dae-hyun, you came into my life when I'd forgotten what it felt like to be valued. You showed me that strength isn't about never falling down. It's about getting back up and choosing to be better. You taught me that love isn't about finding someone perfect, but about finding someone who chooses you every single day. I promise to choose you every day. For the rest of my life, I promise to be your safe place when nightmares come, your partner when challenges arise, and your home no matter where we go. I love you. Dae-hyun's voice was rough with emotion when he spoke his vows. Jin-woo, before I met you, I was living, but not alive. I was strong but empty. You showed me that revenge is hollow, but love is real, that the past doesn't define us but our choices do. You made me believe I could be more than the sum of my mistakes. I promise to protect you and Sung-ho with everything I have, but also to let you be strong on your own. I promise to build a life with you based on honesty, trust, and the kind of love that makes us both better. You are my light in the darkness, my hope in despair, my reason to keep choosing good over revenge. I love you with everything I am and everything I'm becoming." There wasn't a dry eye in the garden when they sealed their vows with a kiss. The reception was joyful and full of laughter. Yi Sung-ho gave a surprisingly eloquent speech about how Jin-woo had saved him first, and then Dae-hyun had saved them both. Tae-ho told embarrassing stories about Dae-hyun that made everyone laugh and made Dae-hyun threaten him with bodily harm in the most affectionate way possible. When the party wound down and it was just Jin-woo and Dae-hyun slow dancing under string lights, Jin-woo leaned his head on his husband's shoulder and felt complete peace. "Are you happy?" Dae-hyun asked softly. "So happy I can barely believe it's real," Jin-woo admitted. "Are you?" "More than I ever thought possible. You did that. You made this possible." "We made it possible," Jin-woo corrected. "Together." They moved into a house, not a mansion or anything ostentatious, but a comfortable home with a yard where Sung-ho could play, and a garden where Jin-woo could grow vegetables and an office where Dae-hyun could work. It was perfect, not because it was fancy, but because it was theirs. Jin-woo continued his work helping at-risk youth, and Dae-hyun's security company grew steadily. They both went to therapy regularly, individually and as a couple, working through their traumas and building healthy coping mechanisms. Sung-ho grew into a teenager, sometimes difficult, often wonderful, always loved. On the 3-year anniversary of that wrong number text, Jin-woo and Dae-hyun took Sung-ho out for dinner at a nice restaurant. Afterward, they walked through the city together. No bodyguards needed anymore. Just a family enjoying the evening. "You know what I realized?" Jin-woo said as they walked. "Min-jun did me a favor." "How so?" Dae-hyun asked, his arm around Jin-woo's shoulders. "If he'd been the person I thought he was, if he'd actually loved me and been there that day in the hospital, I never would have met you." His betrayal hurt, but it also freed me to find something real. Sometimes the worst things that happen to us lead us to the best things. "That's very philosophical," Dae-hyun teased gently. "I've been in therapy for 3 years. I'm full of philosophical insights now," Jin-woo laughed. "Can we stop being deep and get ice cream?" Sung-ho asked, because teenagers have priorities. They got ice cream. They went home. They watched a movie together, the 3 of them piled on the couch with blankets and snacks. It was ordinary and perfect, and everything Jin-woo had ever wanted without knowing to want it. That night, after Sung-ho had gone to bed, Jin-woo and Dae-hyun sat on their back porch, looking at the stars. "Do you ever regret it?" Jin-woo asked. "Leaving your old life? Losing all that power and money?" "Not for a second," Dae-hyun said immediately. "I have more now than I ever had then. I have you, I have Sung-ho. I have work that doesn't make me hate myself. I have peace, Jin-woo. Real peace. Money and power can't buy that." "I love you," Jin-woo said simply. "I love you too. Thank you for that wrong number. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for teaching me that revenge isn't as important as love, that healing is possible, and that choosing goodness over darkness is the bravest thing anyone can do." They sat in comfortable silence, hands intertwined, both of them thinking about how far they'd come. From a panicked wrong number text to a lifetime commitment, from broken hearts to healed souls, from revenge to redemption. Years later, when Sung-ho was grown and in college himself, he asked Jin-woo about that time in their lives. "Were you scared?" Sung-ho asked. "When you fell for Dae-hyun? When everything was dangerous and uncertain?" Jin-woo thought about it. "Terrified," he admitted, "but more scared of living a safe, small life where I never took chances. Sometimes the scariest thing and the right thing are the same thing." "How did you know it was right?" "Because even when it was hard, even when I was scared, I never felt alone. Dae-hyun made me feel like I mattered, like my feelings were valid, like I was worth fighting for. That's how you know it's right. When someone makes you feel more like yourself, not less." "I hope I find that someday," Sung-ho said. "You will," Jin-woo promised. "And when you do, remember that love isn't about perfection. It's about choosing each other, even when it's hard. especially when it's hard. Jin-woo and Dae-hyun grew old together, built a life rich in love and purpose, and never stopped being grateful for that accidental text message that had changed everything. They faced challenges, celebrated victories, and through it all, they chose each other. On their 10th wedding anniversary, they went back to that hospital rooftop garden where Dae-hyun had proposed. Me to marry you. I want to say yes, all me to marry you. I want to say yes all over again. Dae-hyun smiled. That soft smile he only ever gave Jin-woo, and got down on one knee right there in the same spot. Jin-woo, my love, my light, my home. Will you continue being my husband? Will you keep choosing me, even though you know all my flaws? Will you keep building this beautiful life with me? Yes, Jin-woo said, tears in his eyes. Always yes. Forever yes. They kissed as the sun set, just like they had 10 years ago. Two people who'd been broken by life but had healed each other with patience, love, and the courage to keep choosing good over revenge, hope over despair, and love over everything else. And they lived not perfectly, but happily, choosing each other every single day for the rest of their lives. I'm ready for more heartfelt BL romance stories. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to this channel for more emotional BL romance journeys. Hit that like button if you loved Jin-woo and Dae-hyun's story, and drop a comment telling me which moment made you cry or smile. Should I create more stories about healing from betrayal? About finding love in unexpected places? About chosen family? Let me know what you want to see next. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss a new story. Share this with someone who loves beautiful romance stories with deep emotional journeys. What kind of BL story should I tell next? Comment below with your ideas. Thank you for being part of this journey. See you in the next story.